Hello, welcome to Lore Master's Lair. I am your Lore Master, here today for another God video. And to celebrate what is the 5th anniversary of this channel, we will today be looking towards one of my favorites, Arshea. Let's get started. As always, we start off with where you can find information on the spirit of Abandon yourself. She has information in both the Gods and Magic books, and Divine Mysteries as usual, but she also appears in Chronicles of the Righteous, her being an Imperial Lord. Of course, her full write-up is much more recent, being from the second book of the Curtain Call Adventure Path, titled Singer, Stalker, Skinsaw Man. There is much debate about the origins of Arshea, her existing since the earliest human records. Some say during the original Thessalonian Empire, when Sosin cast off her morals to become the Rune Lord of Lust, she gained, the morals, gained a life of their own, becoming the Imperial Lord. Others say she was part of Abador's first vault, a prime example of both gender and beauty. But, realizing she needed to be free, Abador let her go, where she has never been bound again. If she herself is asked, she will just wordlessly smile. Arshea appears in her base as a humanoid whose appearance surpasses all beauty, exemplar of all genders, being of at once slender and curvy, all draped in a translucent white gown. But she barely appears in her own form, instead appearing in the form of the one she stands before, a perfect form which shows off the person's natural beauty, to show they too are beautiful. Or if they do not like their own form, transgender or otherwise, she appears in the form they wish they wore, giving them dreams of one day reaching that beauty. Much is made of the spirit of Abandon's faith when it comes to gender and sexuality. However, Arshea's faith is liberation in all forms. If you wish to escape a society's confines in terms of sex and gender, the faith is there. If you want to fight back against those who question the freedoms of others, Arshea will stand beside you. If you wish to be redeemed from the wickedness you took part in, Arshea will be your companion, standing alongside you through the worst of it. It is not dogma that unites Arshea's faith, but a desire to live as one's true self. This can in part include dressing in ways which scandalize pearl clutchers, but they are not the ones who matter. What matters is living as yourself, without anything holding you back except your own desires. That said, to take away the freedoms of others also runs contrary to Arshea's doctrine, and consent is sacred, to where the words "may I" also become a prayer to her faithful. Of course, there is also the faith. There's more to the faith than sex. Freedom in all forms are under her purview. And while beauty is emphasized, beauty also takes many forms. Because being beautiful on the outside will not save someone ugly on the inside. Priests of Arshea have the loosest of hierarchies, with it just generally being the younger priest following the wisdom of their elders, with elder defined not by age, but how much time since one discovered their true self. They encourage others to be themselves by being a living example of the joys of such, and they generally guide those who are not yet ready by living openly, loud, and proud. Priests work to become well-rounded, being all they can be instead of putting themselves into any one box. And outside of the liberation of a person, liberation is still high on their priorities, whether the freedom is attained by action or by word. Temples to Arshea tend to be as open to the sky, as permitted. with a wide open interior which symbolizes freedom. The buildings include living quarters, places to purchase cosmetics and clothing, and what is known as the Chamber of the Other, where those who enter are dressed as another sex or gender or role, seeing a potential transformation for them. This is how many who transition find their journey start. Arshea has no realm, it suiting her more to travel free. She instead is known to visit the realms of other allied deities in her endless travels, before continuing again on her road. On to other information, the center of Arshea's worship is Magnemar, where she is one of several mystery cults of the city. She was once large in Gault before the endless revolutions, and now Ravenel is, in its freedom, has become a hub of her worship. For holidays, the faithful celebrate artists in the celebration known as the Representine, and the most beautiful people in a settlement are used as models for the entire area. The Masquerade of the Abandon is a large masquerade where all celebrants are magically altered to try out a new body, some which come back to the temple to keep in the coming weeks. The sacred text is Ecstasy and Euphoria, a book which is many different things to different people, a sex manual, a beauty book, a shoulder to embolden the meek. While the interior can differ, the book tends to have wide margins to allow worshippers to write notes, before they eventually pass these books on to the next generation. Onto other faiths, Arshea gets along with any deity willing to champion freedom, the closest ally being fellow Imperial Lord Limnerius. Shaylin and Desna also are on the top of the list, with Articula being a newer friend. Milani, Caden, and Avadar each have friendly faiths if they are starting to diverge in ideals. Arshea's enemies, in turn, are all tyrants, not least of all Asmodeus, and all faiths which shame sexuality and work to first modesty and tradition. Which brings us to the end of today's video. So, it's been 5 years. Well, can't say I've grown that much, but I've tried different technology, different techniques, but all comes back to being right here. Most videos not getting views, occasionally people popping in. Hello to all of you who might or may not watch this video. But hey, I'm not here to make it big. I'm here to talk about something that I love, and I enjoy the lore of Pathfinder. It continues to expand, to have interesting entries each year. We're getting 3 whole setting books this year, 2 Pathfinder, 1 Starfinder, as well as not only do we have the Starfinder Ash Treasuries book, but we have the Fae book coming up, so that's all amazing things coming this year. But yeah, I have no, despite not having that much success, I continually have stuff to talk about, so I'm not planning on going anywhere anytime soon, but we'll see what the schedule looks like once I finally finish off Tianxi, which should be sometime later this year, but either way, thank you everyone who stopped by to watch this episode. Well, long outro. Anyway, everyone who comes by, who might watch this video in the future, I never watch it, and won't hear these words, but still directed at you. All of you, take care.